So, my most recent rental property I picked up, you guys did see the renovation, but I wanted to break down the numbers because I've been talking a lot about using your rental property to buy your liabilities. And that's a good way to invest because then you have that income forever. And I had wanted to buy a Tesla, decided not to, and I wanted to show you why I decided not to. Two main reasons. And one, I had a meeting with my lender, which I always recommend doing. Even though I know a lot about lending, I still meet with my lender because there's always new things and different calculations, and they just do it really quick and give you really good insight. So one thing is he told me that it does kick up my DTI pretty high, which would make it really hard for me to continue buying properties. Didn't want to do that. So that was one reason. Second reason, I'm going to actually break down these numbers and show you why I'm just not quite there yet. I want my properties to pay for all of my liabilities. And since if I put zero down on the Tesla, my payment's looking at close to $1,600 a month, maybe $1,500 a month. So on my most recent property, I have a total of 7 income producing properties. So the most recent one was in downtown Phoenix. I assumed that loan because the seller was about to file bankruptcy, and because they just really weren't good at property management, and just they just didn't have the experience. So I took it over, and I'll break down those numbers for you now. So the loan that was left was $137,667. So I took that over. That's what I owe on the property. No down payment, so that does help. But there was back taxes that wasn't paid. There was late fees, and there was missed payments, quite a few months missed payments. So that total came to $11,837. I had to pay all that. So there's a cost there. Then there was some holding cost because the tenants weren't paying, and I had to evict them, so there was eviction cost. And on top of that, the place really needed a lot of work. And so I renovated the property and got it all the fees and the eviction process and holding costs and all that came to about $35,000, which is really good. I did GC it a lot myself. I subbed it out to a lot of skilled labor, licensed guys, but I saved money by subbing it out myself and not paying a GC. So that helps when you get the experience. That'll save you money. I got quoted $79,000, and that didn't include holding cost or anything. It was just a simple renovation. And I got everything done, including holding costs done, for $35,000. So you can save a lot of money and still get a good job done. So now we do the math on that and kind of round the numbers just a hair. That puts me at about $185,000. If you look behind me, I did write a lot of that up here, but I didn't really have the camera set up to do it all on the whiteboard, so that's why I'm sitting here in front of you. But what's cool is this number. After I got it all done for $185,000, it got appraised at $240,000. I was then able to refinance it and lower the payments, get out of that crazy hard money loan at 12% interest, which actually can be very helpful when you're paying for things cash, but you want to refinance out of that as quickly as possible. So now I have $55,000 in equity. You could sell that, but my rule of thumb is to have about $100,000 before I sell something. With fees and everything, that eats up the numbers. You want to make it worth your time. So I always try to wait till about $100,000 in equity before I list it. So this was a buy and hold for me. And that's really where I'm breaking the numbers down. Is this a good property for buy and hold? Now, rule of thumb, I do follow a lot of the rule of thumbs. 1%, 5%, 50%, and 2%. There's a whole bunch of other rules that I can teach you at another time. But my rule is cash on cash, ROI, return on investment of 12%. That's what I look for. Or very close, sometimes more, which is fantastic. This one I thought was a home run. I thought it was going to be a lot higher, 15% or so. But the numbers don't lie, and that's what's important. Your gut feeling can get you into trouble. The numbers don't lie. And where I got in trouble on this one was that this property ended up being in a flood zone, which really isn't the end of the world, but it was in a very expensive flood zone. There's different zones. They all cost different for insurance. It's federally, I guess you could say, funded in order to make it as cheap as possible, because you are forced to actually get that flood insurance. This one ended up costing me over $200 a month. That's really expensive for flood insurance. So that really ate into the profits, which I didn't expect. So moving forward, I'm really conservative with my numbers, and that's just to protect myself from unforeseen things that could happen. But let's break down the numbers. So $22.50, which you can see up here, that's the rents, very conservative rents. That is what I expect to get from the property. The front 2-bedroom, $850. It's a house for $850. That's pretty low. But I also have a year lease, so I have to honor that until the lease ends. The back unit was turned into a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, which I was expecting between $1,500 or so. I kind of rounded that down to protect myself. Anyways, totaling about $22.50 for both units. So that's the rents I'd get monthly. Now, vacancies, right? It was vacant for a while. You can expect your properties to be vacant for a while. Most people do like a 5% vacancy rate, especially in this market. It's pretty conservative. CapEx, so your expenditures, repairs, things like that. There's calculators, and I use calculators. It makes it a lot easier. I pay for a subscription on BiggerPockets to use their calculators, because to break all this down over and over and over again, to me it's worth the money. It saves a lot of time. But they do, and I'll show you the graph here in a little bit, right here on this paper. It really helps out a lot, but yeah, you figure out all the repair costs, all the vacancy expectations, all the repair expectations. Older properties, so I went conservative at 10% for repair cost. And then the CapEx is, big things that could potentially break, like your AC, water heater, just expensive repairs. You got to kind of expect those costs, and then you break it down. So you divide it by 12 to break it down throughout the year, monthly. So as you can see, the cost plus the mortgage is right over here. And so that comes out to about $1,808. So if you just do the simple math of $22.50 minus the $1,808, you have a cash flow of about $441 per month. So definitely not what I expected. That comes out to about just under $5,300 a year for profit per year, which is good, which is great, but you need a lot of those. I need a lot more of those in order to pay for the I need 3 of those basically to pay for the Tesla. So I'm only 1/3 of the way. Now I have 5 other doors, so rental properties that I get rent from, but I'm not counting those. Those are paying for other things. I need about $1,500 worth of profit on rentals in order to pay for my Tesla. So I'm not going to buy it until I have those properties that pay for my Tesla free and clear. But why this is so powerful is